Ever think you know everything about airline policies for older travelers? Wrong. The flight industry just dropped 7 major changes in 2025 that specifically target senior passengers, and some of them will shock you. From boarding restrictions to wheelchair damage rules that cost airlines millions, these aren't just minor updates. They're game changers that every traveler over 55 needs to know before their next flight. Let's go. The Great Boarding Shift. Think early boarding for seniors is guaranteed? Think again. Airlines are quietly restructuring their entire boarding process, and older travelers are getting caught in the middle. Southwest Airlines just announced the biggest change in their 53-year history, eliminating open seating by 2026. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Multiple airlines are cracking down on what they call boarding abuse, and seniors are feeling the heat. Reports have surfaced of passengers using wheelchairs to board early, then mysteriously recovering during flight. Travel industry insiders are calling them jetway Jesuses, and airlines are responding with stricter verification procedures. The Civil Aviation Authority found that 54% of UK adults flew in 2023, matching pre-pandemic levels. But older adults age 55 and up are flying significantly less than before COVID-19. Airlines are responding by changing policies that directly impact how seniors board and where they sit. Starting in 2025, requesting wheelchair assistance now requires 48-hour advance notice at most airports. Last-minute requests face additional scrutiny, and some airlines are implementing mandatory check-ins with disability coordinators. The days of showing up at the gate and requesting assistance are ending. American Airlines updated their special assistance policies, requiring customers who need constant care or cannot follow safety instructions to travel with a paid safety assistant. The assistant must be able to evacuate the terminal, follow safety briefings, and handle personal care needs. If you can't meet these requirements alone, you're not flying without paying for help. The financial impact is real. Senior discounts are disappearing faster than ever. United Airlines discontinued their Silver Wings Plus program for new members in 2007, but existing lifetime members still access zone-based pricing unavailable to new customers. American Airlines offers 5% to 15% discounts for passengers 65 and older, but only on select routes with heavy restrictions. The million-dollar wheelchair crisis. Airlines just faced their worst wheelchair damage year on record, and the government responded with historic penalties that are reshaping how older travelers fly. In October 2024, the Department of Transportation slammed American Airlines with a landmark $50 million penalty for violating disability protections. This wasn't just about money. It was about systematic abuse of passengers using wheelchairs. DOT investigations revealed cases of unsafe physical assistance that resulted in injuries and undignified treatment of wheelchair users. American Airlines mishandled thousands of wheelchairs, damaging them or delaying their return. One incident captured on video at Miami International Airport showed personnel carelessly handling mobility devices. The real numbers are staggering. In 2024 alone, U.S. Airlines mishandled over 11,000 wheelchairs and scooters. That's more than twice the mishandling rate of regular luggage. One wheelchair is damaged for every 100 devices brought aboard. For seniors who depend on these devices for mobility, this isn't just inconvenience, it's life-altering. United Airlines faced a separate $30,000 settlement after damaging the custom wheelchair of disability rights activist Ingracia Figueroa. She later died from injuries sustained using the replacement wheelchair United provided. These aren't isolated incidents. They're part of a pattern that's forcing massive industry changes. The new DOT rule, effective January 16, 2025, creates a rebuttable presumption that airlines violated federal law whenever a passenger's wheelchair isn't returned in the same condition. Airlines must now provide immediate repair or replacement through the passenger's preferred vendor. They're required to offer loaner wheelchairs that fit the passenger's specific needs during repairs. Airlines are pushing back hard. They've filed lawsuits challenging the new regulations, arguing the costs are unsustainable, but the DOT isn't backing down. They're investigating similar violations at multiple airlines, with more penalties expected. Training requirements have been completely overhauled. Any airline employee who handles wheelchairs or assists passengers with mobility disabilities must complete annual hands-on training by June 2026. The training covers safe transfer techniques, proper equipment handling, and dignity protocols. The accessibility revolution. The biggest changes aren't just about wheelchairs. They're about completely reimagining how airlines serve passengers with any mobility limitation. New aircraft accessibility standards are rolling out that will transform flying for millions of seniors. Starting in 2025, all new single-aisle aircraft with 125 or more seats must include at least one lavatory large enough for a 95th percentile male and an assistant to maneuver inside using the aircraft's onboard wheelchair. The 95-95 standard applies to aircraft ordered after October 2033 or delivered after October 2035. Airlines must now provide prompt enplaning, deplaning, and connecting assistance. For passengers using boarding chairs, prompt means airline personnel and a boarding wheelchair are available when the last regular passenger leaves the aircraft. Personal wheelchairs must be available as close as possible to the aircraft door. The Airline Passengers with Disabilities Bill of Rights, published in 2022, is being enforced with unprecedented penalties. Airlines can no longer refuse transportation based on disability appearance or involuntary behavior. They cannot require advance notice that a person with a disability is traveling, except for specific accommodations requiring preparation time. Priority boarding has been clarified. Airlines must allow passengers with disabilities who self-identify at the gate as needing additional time to board before all other passengers. Southwest Airlines received special DOT approval to accommodate these passengers after an initial group boards, but still early in the process. Seating accommodations are now mandatory for specific needs. Airlines must provide movable aisle armrests for passengers using aisle chairs who cannot transfer over fixed armrests. Bulkhead seats are required for service animals. Greater legroom is mandatory for passengers with fused or immobilized legs. The financial enforcement is getting serious. DOT's $50 million penalty against American Airlines was 25 times larger than any previous disability protection penalty. Secretary Pete Buttigieg announced this sets a new standard of accountability that signals the end of tolerating poor treatment of passengers with disabilities. Real ID requirements kick in May 7, 2025, adding another layer of complexity for older travelers. The Department of Homeland Security will enforce Real ID compliance for all domestic flights. Seniors who haven't updated their identification will be denied boarding. The technology divide. Airlines are racing to implement new technologies that promise easier travel, but often create barriers for older passengers. Contactless check-in systems, app-based boarding passes, and digital-only customer service are becoming standard. For seniors less comfortable with technology, these changes represent hidden obstacles. Major carriers are prioritizing smartphone integration for everything from seat selection to meal ordering. United Airlines introduced a free preferred seat waiting list feature on their app that automatically allocates favorite seats when available, but seniors who don't use smartphones or apps are left behind. Alternative Airlines reports that their expert customer service team now handles most senior travel arrangements because online booking systems have become too complex for older travelers. They arrange additional assistance, inform airlines of specific requirements, and provide personalized service that automated systems cannot match. The TSA Cares program offers assistance for travelers with disabilities and medical conditions, but booking this help requires navigating complex online systems or lengthy phone trees. Seniors over 75 receive special screening accommodations, but only if they know to request them in advance. Airlines are implementing new seating policies that sound helpful but create confusion. Indigo Airlines in India now shows female passengers which seats are occupied by other women. Japan Airlines lets passengers avoid sitting near children under 2. These features require app navigation and profile setup that many seniors find challenging. Southwest's transition to assigned seating by 2026 eliminates the open seating policy that many older travelers prefer. The new system promises reduced boarding stress, but requires understanding complex group numbers and digital check-in processes that replace the familiar letter and number system. The hidden fee explosion. Airlines are introducing new fee structures that disproportionately impact older travelers who need additional services. The Department of Transportation blocked a rule requiring upfront disclosure of baggage fees, but airlines continue adding charges that catch seniors off guard. Family seating fees are being eliminated for children 13 and under, but no similar protections exist for adult companions traveling with seniors who need assistance. Delta, Southwest, Spirit, and United still charge extra to guarantee adjacent seating for older travelers and their caregivers. Southwest Airlines shocked the industry by ending free checked bags for standard tickets. For the first time in company history, passengers must pay luggage fees. This hits seniors hardest, as they often travel with medical equipment and medications requiring checked baggage. Priority boarding fees are increasing across all carriers. What used to be complimentary for passengers needing extra time now costs $15 to $50 per flight. Airlines frame this as reducing boarding abuse, but seniors with legitimate needs are paying the price. Wheelchair assistance remains free by federal law, but related services are generating new fees. Airlines charge for oxygen during flights, priority baggage handling, and special meal accommodations that many seniors require. These costs add hundreds of dollars to trips. British Airways maintains the most generous senior program through AARP membership, offering up to 50% discounts on select routes, but membership fees and restrictions limit access. The partnership allows any age to join AARP for discounts. Despite common belief, it's senior only. Frontier Airlines 55F-OR55 promotion offered 55% off base fares for travelers 55 and older through February 2025, representing one of the largest senior discounts available. But base fare discounts don't include taxes, fees, or carrier charges that often equal the original savings. Phone booking fees are rising, but seniors often have no choice. Many airlines charge $25 to $50 for phone reservations, but senior fare programs require calling reservation agents who can access discounts not visible online. United's agents can find senior fares unavailable through their website. The training revolution. Airlines are completely overhauling employee training to address years of complaints about treatment of older and disabled passengers. The changes go far beyond simple sensitivity training to hands-on certification programs that could determine whether staff keep their jobs. DOT's new rule requires annual training for all airline employees and contractors who physically assist passengers with mobility disabilities or handle wheelchairs. The training must include hands-on components, not just classroom instruction. Employees who fail certification cannot work with passengers requiring assistance. Training programs now cover safe transfer techniques from wheelchairs to aircraft seats, proper use of aisle chairs and boarding equipment, and protocols for handling different types of mobility devices. Staff learn to recognize when passengers need assistance without being asked and how to offer help respectfully. Customer service training specifically addresses age-related communication needs. Employees learn to speak clearly for passengers with hearing difficulties, provide written information for those with vision problems, and allow extra time for processing information or moving through airports. Complaint resolution officials are receiving enhanced training to handle disability-related issues on the spot. These officials must be available promptly, often by phone, and have authority to resolve problems before they escalate to federal complaints. The training costs are substantial. Airlines report spending millions on new programs, but DOT enforcement makes this mandatory. American Airlines invested over $175 million in 2024 on services, infrastructure, training, and technology for disabled passengers as part of their penalty agreement. Ground crew training includes proper wheelchair storage procedures, battery documentation requirements for powered devices, and emergency protocols for passengers who cannot evacuate independently. Cargo handlers learn specialized techniques for securing mobility devices to prevent damage. Flight attendant training covers in-flight assistance limitations, medication management policies, and coordination with ground crews for passenger transfers. Attendants learn when they can provide help and when additional assistance is required. The enforcement era. The era of lenient airline enforcement is over. DOT is implementing the most aggressive penalty structure in aviation history, specifically targeting violations that affect older and disabled travelers. This isn't just regulatory theater. It's reshaping airline behavior through financial consequences that exceed the cost of doing business. DOT's investigation methods have become sophisticated. They review passenger complaints, analyze damage statistics, and conduct undercover assessments of airline procedures. The American Airlines investigation included video evidence from Miami International Airport showing improper wheelchair handling. Civil penalties are escalating rapidly. The $50 million American Airlines penalty was 25 times larger than any previous disability protection fine. This establishes a new precedent that violations will face consequences severe enough to change corporate behavior. Airlines cannot simply pay fines and continue problematic practices. Consent orders require specific investments in equipment, training, and passenger compensation. American Airlines must spend $25 million on wheelchair damage reduction systems and passenger restitution to avoid additional penalties. Enforcement extends beyond individual airlines to industry-wide pattern recognition. DOT has active investigations into similar violations at multiple carriers. They're looking for systemic problems rather than isolated incidents. The Department of Justice Civil Rights Division is providing assistance and advice to DOT during penalty negotiations. This elevation signals that disability violations are being treated as civil rights issues rather than simple regulatory infractions. States and airports face enforcement pressure too. DOT's new rule on pedestrian facilities in public right-of-way requires accessibility standards for transit stops. Local governments must comply with federal accessibility requirements or risk losing transportation funding. International enforcement coordination is increasing. The Air Carrier Access Act now applies to foreign airlines operating flights to or from the United States. International carriers must meet American accessibility standards on these routes. Conclusion: there you have it. 7 massive changes hitting older travelers in 2025, from boarding restrictions to million-dollar wheelchair penalties. Airlines are facing the biggest accessibility overhaul in aviation history, and seniors are at the center of every change. But knowledge is power. The industry doesn't want you knowing these changes are designed to shift costs and responsibilities onto passengers. They're hoping you'll accept new restrictions, pay hidden fees, and navigate complex systems without understanding your rights. The most shocking revelation? Airlines have been breaking federal disability laws for years with minimal consequences. Now, they're facing penalties that could bankrupt smaller carriers and force major changes at industry giants. Which of these changes surprised you most? Are you planning to fly differently because of these new policies? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more travel secrets the airlines don't want you to discover. We're just getting started exposing what's really happening in the aviation industry.